Hello, beautiful friends. Heather here. This transmission is an Ascension Activation. I know, you've heard it before, but they're all different. This is an Ascension Activation, and you're totally going to be getting light language throughout, but there'll be like a main one at the end. So I'll put like a timestamp in the description. Please read the description. And I've been guided to do this. This is not me like, oh, I totally feel like I want to share. This is Spirit's been coming to me for a while, wanting me to share more of my story. Because I'm human just like you. And if I can ascend, so can you. If I can awaken my consciousness and expand my consciousness, so can you. We can all do this. We've all been on this human journey. The only one creating the limitations is ourselves. The only ones resisting change is ourselves. We can say, oh, I'm not changing because of this or because of that. That's your choice, right? Free will, which there'll be a will activation coming up soon to strengthen our will. So my journey. So before I woke up, okay, well, I've had quite the experience this lifetime. Oh boy. I definitely was a drinker. I drank. I smoked pot. Like, I smoked pot regularly. No judging, right? We don't do that anymore. Hold space. And I smoked cigarettes. Yeah, I smoked cigarettes like on and off throughout my whole life. So before I woke up, which I woke up like around the beginning of the pandemic, and before I woke up, I was out at a camping trip, and I kept seeing, and I've seen UFOs definitely throughout my life, absolutely. And like, I don't even know, like 4 or 5 years ago, I saw one of those huge ones out in Montana. It was like football fields wide, like a huge starship, like huge. And my friend we were like, what the heck? It was huge. So I've seen ships. I've definitely seen ships. But if you had asked me about like aliens and stuff, I was like, I know they're there. I've seen ships, but I knew nothing about that, right? And there I was smoking and having my White Claw or whatever it was back then, or my IPA or whatever. So anyway, I was that girl. And there's no judgment on that. Like, I was having a great time, no one was getting hurt. It wasn't like an out of control thing. I was just living. I wasn't awake yet, if you want to call it that. And so then, so then I got a message from Spirit. One of my friends got me a channel. Like, I sat with someone that could channel. And she came through and said, Spirit's telling you to ease up on your drinking. And I was like, whoa, I don't drink that much. Right? A little bit defensive. I don't drink that much. So I was like, okay. And I sat with it. And then, like a month or two, maybe a month went by. And I was like, okay, it's time for a cleanse. Because, and I still ate meat and cheese and stuff like that. And it's no judgment again. I never really liked beef, let's say. It was never my thing. Like, my parents kind of had to force me to eat it growing up. It was never a liking of mine, but I did eat like chicken and some seafood and things like that. So like a month went by, and I was like, okay, it's time for a cleanse, because I would do a cleanse every now and again. And I've got like this really cool juicer, and I did my cleanse, and I just never drank again. I just was like, that just doesn't resonate with me anymore. I'm just not going to do it. But I still smoked cigarettes and still smoked weed, and it was like no big deal. And then like, a year went by or whatever. And I woke up one day and was like, I'm having a spiritual awakening. I didn't even know like what, what's happening. I'm having a spiritual awakening. I had no idea what was going on the planet. Then I was shown a video about kind of what was going on the planet. And my soul knew. I watched it and I was like, oh, I know all this. And then I was like, whoa, this is gnarly. And then I started getting audio messages. I was hearing things, not like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing things, but I was hearing things. I definitely was hearing things. And I was like, okay, this is gnarly. I'm going through a spiritual awakening. So for me, like the key to spiritual awakening is accepting and allowing change, right? Because to expand our consciousness and to raise our frequency, we're not going to do that by doing the same things. Because if we're eating the same foods, watching the same programs, and doing the same routine, we're going to keep taking in the same frequencies and keep emitting the same frequencies, right? So it's all about change and accepting and allowing, because we have to accept and allow that perhaps we were doing things that weren't in our greatest interest, but that was part of our journey. If we weren't doing those things, we wouldn't have learned and grown through the experiences that we had created for ourselves, that our souls needed. So I'm all over the place with this. Thank you for holding space. I'm just following my guidance. So yeah. So I was getting messages and I was on meds. I was on medications I had a bum thyroid and I had cyclic vomiting syndrome, which is this thing because I had a huge blockage in my solar plexus due to like major childhood traumas and things like that, which I'm working through now, which is another part of this whole ascension thing. So it's accepting and going with change. So then it was like so many things. I just knew, like, immediately I got rid of my TV. And I knew, and there were a couple programs I really enjoyed watching. And I remember saying to a friend, this is probably the last time I'm going to watch this mindless programming. And I knew, plus television, tell lies to your vision, programming. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't want programming. I don't want anyone to program me. I want to program myself, right? So that's another thing about ascension. Like you have to make these changes. You just do. And you don't have to ascend. That's the other thing. Free will. We do not have to embark on this journey. But if you choose to embark on the journey, you're going to be called to change. You absolutely, most definitely are going to be called to change. Absolutely. So that brought me to getting off the meds. And I've talked about that in another video. And I got in touch with my doctors and we got in a titrate program. And I told my doctors how I was going to heal my body. And they were like, yeah, we'll see about that. And I did. And I did it incredibly fast, super safe, guided by my doctors as far as getting off the medications. But as far as healing my body, I blew their minds. Like they called me personally and were like, how did you do this? How did you do this? And I followed my guidance. So my diet changed. Everything changed. Everything changed. I quit smoking cigarettes. The last thing to go was the pot. I kept smoking pot for a while, but that was part of my journey because it switched from doing it like as an escape to I was doing it way more mindfully. And again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not, I'm just sharing my story and I was guided to share my story. So here it is. So yeah, I would like go for a while without smoking it. And then I'd have like a really hard, clearing come up with like lots of emotions and stuff. And then I would use it then, but I would set an intention before I used it. And I'd be like, I want to connect to spirit. I want to connect with my higher self. I would thank, the plant. I would thank, everything. I mean, everything switched. I changed. Everything became mindful. I remember one day even I was like throwing a nut in my mouth and I was just like mindfully throwing nuts in my mouth and then I bit my cheek or my lip or whatever it was. And it was like, whoa. And immediately it was like mindfulness. And I was like, oh, right. We don't robotically do things anymore. So everything slowly started to change. And I remember thinking at one point, like, I can't do this. Like, I can't be like so-and-so, like that person I watch meditations from. Like, they're so like enlightened, like I don't know if I'll ever get to that, and I kind of was like setting these like limitations and judging myself and yeah, definitely limitations. And so there's light coming through me. So yeah. So where am I going with all this? Where are we? So yeah, so then I was smoking pot occasionally and then I would like try to quit. And then it wasn't time yet. Like everything wasn't in alignment. It's like anything else you try to do, if you force it, it creates resistance. You have to wait for the divine timing to fall into place. So I would, set the intention to stop and everything, but then something would come up and I would go back. And spirit didn't want me to get upset with myself. Just to allow, be aware, be mindful when you engage with it then, you know what I mean? So it changed. And then all of a sudden one day it was over and I never went back. So that was that for that. And yeah, so then I was done with substances, and I remember, and I did drink coffee and I didn't drink coffee my whole life, but I was right before, like when I woke up, and I remember being like, yeah, I don't know, because that's a stimulant and it was keeping me from being grounded. So the coffee went, and I definitely do tea. And now I do like tons of like herbal teas. I went to the health food store and I have all these jars in my house with like all kinds of cool herbs and stuff. And, I just go in front of the teas and I'm like, what does my body most want to absorb right now? And then I'll feel like, oh, it's that one. And then I'll grab that one and make that one. And so that's really cool. I do that now. And then also I remember being like, I knew I woke up one day and I used to love cheese. Big time. I big time love cheese, right? And then I knew I kind of got the download, like, you're not going to be eating dairy anymore. And I was like, okay, wow, like, how am I going to live without dairy? I ate dairy like every single day, right? So I was like, how am I going to not eat dairy? I don't know. Okay, well, I trusted. That's the thing. We have to trust. 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 Okay, so here's the thing. If we're raising our vibration, we're expanding our consciousness, we're doing these things and we're being divinely guided, how would we go wrong? How could we go wrong? So I kept falling back onto that. Every time I was like, I don't want to do that, and you know what I'm talking about, right? When you're like, I don't want to make that change. I'm super comfortable over here just doing what I'm doing. And every time I've made a change, I'm better for it. I feel better. My vibe is higher. I'm more empowered. And as I make these changes, it allows, like, it sets the momentum. It's all about momentum, right? We're vibration. We're raising our vibration, which is a momentum in itself, right? So by accepting and allowing these changes to occur has brought forth more and more and more of them. And I've even had friends, people that like I used to hang out with and stuff, they'd be like, oh, I can't wait to learn from you. And that's the other thing is like, I can share things and stuff, but we learn through our own experience. We learn through feeling through all of this. I can tell you till the cows come home about how you're going to feel better, but until you start feeling how you feel better when you make these changes, that's when it clicks and you go, oh, I like this because I feel a lot better. I feel lighter. I feel more empowered. And then it's like a, snowball effect or whatever you want to call it. We gain that momentum. And then plus, as we keep making all these changes and stuff, it's like we're showing up. We're showing up for ourselves. We're showing up for spirit. We're showing up for the divine. We're showing up for the collective. Our guides and our angels are totally aware of everything that's going on. And they can see us, and it's like a teamwork thing. And if we keep showing up and we keep showing like, hey, I'm into this. Every day I say, I want to move forward for the greater good of all. May all of my thoughts, actions, and words be in alignment for the greater good of all. Please put me where I need to be, and, you set these intentions regularly and they notice, they know, the unseen sees all. We might not be able to see them yet because our vibrations are lower, but they are seeing everything. From up there, they can see everything. From down here, we can't necessarily see everything up. But as we raise our vibrations, trust me, we get more and more and more and more connected. It's pretty great. I will attest to that. It's pretty great. Way great. Okay, so. Oh, water. So, which brings me to another part of Ascension is that going through Ascension isn't just like all rainbows and butterflies, right? Because there's like shadow work, I'm sure you've heard of. And that's legit. You've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. Your soul signed up for this. I know it sounds like, oh, that word work has like such vibrations around it in itself, but quite literally, we've got to face up to all these shadows that have been created throughout our lifetimes from our family lineage. Yeah, like, I mean, we've got to. And I can tell you, this is not a cakewalk for me. It's not. I have been through some gnarly stuff. Gnarly. And I even had spirit, and I've worked through a lot of it, and it's been a lot. Look, I'm getting emotional just talking about it because it's still not fully all released. And so working through a lot of this stuff and nurturing my inner child and this little girl, you know, that didn't have what she needed back then. And I've worked through so much of it. And it's challenging, right? It's super, super challenging. And I like a week ago or so, I don't know, time's weird for me these days, but spirit came to me and said there needs to be more closure. And I was like, like resistance. I'm like, what? I thought we were like riding high for a little while here. Like we've been doing so good. Like I thought we closed that door. Can we just close it? Come on, guys. I'm totally tight with you now. Let's just close that door. No, I still have to work through some closure. And so I have been working through that closure, and that required for some of these people that are involved in that stuff, in those darker energies and aspects of my life, to show back up and to pull on me and to prod me and to try to, you know, whatever. And then for me to put up my boundaries and to stand in my light and claim my light and sever energetic cords and become a master. That's what this whole thing is about, expanding our consciousness and raising our vibrations. We are masters. We're just stepping into our mastery, right? So, yeah, I was faced with all of that, came right back at me. But then after working through a bunch of it, hello, beautiful. Then some of my mom's passed, and my mom came through, and the divine, like God, if you want to call God, Allah, Jah, whatever you want to call, source creator, came through. I mean, it was just epic, but I had to walk through the mud first. Starbella, you're in the shot. You back up? Back up, baby. She's loving. You be loved? She is be loved. Oh, be loved. Yes, yes, love. So, and that's the thing, like we're becoming masters, because to be in 5D, okay, enough. This is so cute. Thank you. To step into 5D, it's really, it's about the mastery. It is about the mastery, because in the 5D realm, when we step into the 5D realm completely, we manifest. The energy is so fast. It's picking up, right? So those of us that are excited about Ascension and are really ready to step forward on this, we know that we're moving into the space where we will be manifesting at all times. Like every thought and feeling, the electromagnetic frequency that we're putting out comes right back to us. So we have to become masters of vibrations, masters of our thoughts and our feelings in order to step into the 5D. Otherwise, we're going to be manifesting fear, limitations, and things like that, which is 3D, right? So do you see where I'm going with this? So that's why we're being called to work through the darker energies, because we have to release the fear, the limitations, and everything that was involved or that was created by holding on to those densities and those blocks and those things that we thought we had to hold on to. All that ancestral stuff. Starbella. So that's why we have to work through all this shadow stuff, because we've got to get rid of it in order to illuminate our beings, to illuminate our light bodies, and and to be able to have those clear, crisp thoughts of only love and light, of the positive, the beautiful, and those things, so that we're manifesting and creating intentionally with every thought and feeling. Because that's what 5D is all about. Because we are manifesting with our every thought and feeling. We are electromagnetic frequency. We're sending out and calling it back. So that's why it's so very important to move through these things. And so for me, like, again, a lot of people are like, I can't do that. I can't be like you. And you'll never be like me. We're all completely different. But you can embrace change. You can decide to do these things for yourself. Yes, it's not always easy. Yes, it requires stepping into uncharted water and grounds and stuff like that. But that's expanding our consciousness, right? And as we do these things, you'll get the downloads, you'll get the imprints, you'll get the connections with spirit. You will be all that. Because once we actually all shift to 5D, we all do all of this. We all create our own healing. We don't even need other healers. I mean, right now at this point, super helpful. I'm using other healers, and I am a healer. I use other channelers, and I channel. Right now, it's a teamwork game. I mean, I'm at a meditation retreat, but I'm doing one online right now. And it's of service for me to be receiving different informations like that. And it also shows that I'm committed to my ascension process, that I'm excited about this, and I'm willing to do what it takes. And that's another thing with this process. There was a whole period where, because I've never had money, it's not been a thing for me. I was food bank for years, and it's tough. Like, my car was just broken down for weeks just recently. And like, it's a thing, right? But so with money, that was a limiting belief. I was like, oh, I don't have money, and I can't make money, and this and that and the next thing. But as I've been going through the ascension process, I thank my money all the time, and money comes to me. And you have to let go of how it's going to show up. It might not be a big chunk of lottery on your doorstep. It might show up because you really wanted something, and then next thing you know, it's by the dumpster, and you find it, and you're like, wow, that was exactly what I was asking for. That kind of stuff happens to me. Starbella, stay on this side, please. Stay, mommy. Come here. You got to keep her around, right? So yeah, with the money. And so then that comes to another thing. I mean, when we think about money, sometimes we're willing to spend a chunk of money on something and we don't bat an eye. But then we're like, oh, 140 for a meditation retreat? That's a lot. But you'd be willing to spend 140 on a pair of tennis shoes or something. That was just an example. I don't know what you'd spend your money on. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we've done that. And we really need to start shifting, because the new world isn't done with the regular old monetary money system. Everything's done energetically. So, yeah, if somebody's willing to spend time with me and help me with my energetics, I will pay them, because money is just an energetic exchange at this point in my mind, which, again, expanding my consciousness and trusting. So I'm all over the place with this, but that's okay. Love you. Thanks for holding space. But trusting, like, that's what Spirit kept saying, trust. Because in the olden days, I'd be like, oh, I only have this much left, and then the end of the month, and I don't know where it's going to come from, and da-da-da-da-da. Instead, now I go, yeah, Spirit, I trust. I trust that it will show up. I trust that it will. Next thing you know, I'm guided to make bracelets. Next thing you know, I'm selling bracelets, and I get down to like almost no money. Fridge is almost empty. And then boom, money shows up. Or boom, I get a refund on something, or whatever it is. Like, we just have to trust. And that was a big thing for me, especially, not having food sometimes and going to the food bank and things like that. That was really, really hard. That was hard. And I would watch my money very, very closely to make sure that I had something there, and I would plan it all out. And I had to release and trust, and it has worked for me. And I suggest, even if you just give it time, if that's one of your things, just give it a little bit of time. Worst comes to worst, you have a tight month. But I guarantee if you really put your faith into it and trust and ask your guides and angels in your teams to make sure and guide you and listen to your intuition, you will be fine. And another thing is with my change, because of everything that I've been through in my life, I had to find control somehow, right? Because everything else was out of control. So I had to create control in my life. So I was always a list maker. I wrote lists for my list. I had lists of my list of my lists of my lists. I wrote lists. Everything was organized. Everything was on schedule. Everything had a plan. Everything da 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 da. And that went out the door. I got the message, no more lists. You'll know when it's time. I mean, I still occasionally, you know, like, especially when it comes, because now I'm doing all this YouTube and then the Patreon, and I still clean houses, and now I'm on the HOA board. So there is a little bit of lists because there are quite a few things going on, but it's not like it used to be where it's like, wake up, breathe, brush teeth, go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I let go of the list and I've been trusting, and that's been working for me. So that could be a thing. I might have had to say that for someone. Please only take what resonates and leave the rest. Yeah, so lists, money, and just listening, you guys. Allow for the change and trust. Worst comes to worst, you spend a month changing and you're like, not into it. Then you go back to the old ways. It's no big deal. It's your choice. It's your free will. This is your ascension path. And that's the other thing is my path, like, remember what I was telling you about the smoking weed? Like, I'd be like, yes, I got rid of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm doing it again. And they were like, don't look at it like that. Your path is going to be like this. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be all over the place. I mean, my biggest thing right now is I love the frozen treats. Okay, but I don't eat dairy, and I eat really, really clean. It's the sugar that bothers me, and bothers my body, quite frankly. And so, but it was still like a thing. It's actually fading right now after this last bout of inner child work that I've been doing. Rough inner child work, but it's, see how that works? It's healing that one thing. Oh, so divine. Feeling such big light on this. This is something I had to say. So, and I would eat these frozen treats. I mean, I'd do like these really super duper duper clean ones with like the very few ingredients, no high fructose, that kind of thing, all vegan, like, you know, really clean frozen treats. But it was the way I was doing it and how I was like, sort of like, I wasn't doing it like healthily, you know what I mean? That makes any sense. And so, yeah. And now that I've went through that last bit of throat chakra clearing right now, because I'm sharing my truth, I feel like I want to cry because this is so beautiful for me. Thank you for holding space, and thank you, Spirit, for encouraging me to do this. I showed so much resistance to this video. They've been asking me to do this for a while. So I have been moving through this last bout, well, hopefully last bout, but there'll be more healing after this, because let's face it, I have an old soul. They say ancient. I don't open the Akashic records yet, so I don't know exactly, but I love you, Star. But I have an ancient soul, so we know there's more darkness to work through, but that's okay, because there's always rewards on the other end. And so yeah, things are like, everything gets better every time. Starbella, you're in the picture. You're in the picture. You beep beep on this side. She loves it when I get like really high vibe. She gets all into it. Or when I go through a big clearing. When I do a big clearing, if I'm doing like that deep soul cry, she'll get like right up in me. It's a trip. She knows she's doing her divine work. Huh, Starbella? You baby girl, huh? She's baby. Okay, we're going to do an activation now to help us with the ascension path. Beep, beep, sir. So we're going to do an activation now. Let me switch positions here. And thank you if you made it through the video and you got to this point. Can you see me? I don't know if you guys can see me yet. I can't see what you guys see. Hopefully you can see me. So if you got to this point in the video, thank you for being with me, and thank you for listening and watching my story and supporting me on my journey. And please know that I support you in your journey, on your journey, wherever you are on your journey. I totally support you. I'm here for you. There's no judgment. We're all on this journey. It's been gnarly. It's gnarly. And to clear all of our lifetimes and all this stuff and our ancestors. I mean, wow. 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 We're doing it. So, excuse me. Okay, so Ascension Activation. Let's see what comes through. Ground, and open up your heart space. Call in the light. I'm sure by the time you get this, I'll know what the activation is called. I love you guys. Thanks for loving me. Pre que te toto la harama lehemo soto e que te rohe morhe que te toto la harama asa que te toto la harama ketas. Breaking blocks that are holding us back from our ascension path. Ore me lehe sokoto e que te toto la harama ala harama ha he hore que te toto la harama asa que tes. Elamo asa ketas. It's our humans holding us back. Our souls want this. Ole me hese que te toto la harama le hemo que toto ere que te toto la harama se que te toto la hare que te toto la hemo sokotos. La harama le mo toto e la harama asa que tas. Era mo le se que te toto la harama le hemo ogo e hemo ha 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 ha. Ela mo se que te toto la harama asa tas. If you're truly excited about your ascension path and this is something you're really delving into, call it forth, you guys. Call it forth on a daily basis. Ask your teams to guide you. I accept and I allow. Please, please guide me through this process. Is that, there's a bird over in the tree over there. I can't tell if it's a dove. It's a dove. There's a dove in the pine tree over there. Oh, there's two. Oh. Yeah, that's so great. I love you guys. Thanks for holding space. So yeah, connect with your teams, connect with the divine, connect with God, source. If it's your star family you feel more connected to, whatever it is, the archangels, the ascended masters, Jesus, I don't know, whoever it is that you connect to, Buddha, Lord Cthulhu, I don't know, you know, everyone's different. We all have these awesome, totally awesome blueprints, and they want us to connect. We're strengthening our will right now, and there's going to be an activation for that. So look for the strengthening your will. Stuff's coming in about being the master of your vibration, to release what's on the outside, to go within. It's up to us. We determine our vibration. We're the ones in charge of expanding our consciousness. Thank you all so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you did make it through this whole video, oh my gosh, I love you so much. And even if you didn't, I love you too. No judgment on anyone. I love you so very, very, very much. Get it. I believe in you. Keep an eye out for the will activation. If you don't see it on YouTube, check out the Patreon. It might show up over there. Yeah, I just follow my guidance, and I just know that came through that I'm going to be doing a will one. So it's for strengthening our will. Okay, I love you guys so very much. Blessings to you and your family and your friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.